Hello, Algebra 1 kids. Today we're going to be rationalizing the denominator. Your homework today is radical worksheet number 9. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started right with the examples. You can read the top if you would like, but we're going to go ahead and get started with examples. So something is not simplified completely if there is a radical in the denominator. So for this instance, we're going to have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by radical 5. That gives us 8 radical 5 in the numerator, radical 25 in the denominator. And then we need to simplify. 8 radical 25 cannot simplify. However, the square root of 25 is 5, so our denominator can simplify. And that's going to be your final answer for number 1. For number 2, again, we'll do the same thing. Multiply the numerator and the denominator by radical 3. So then we get 2 radical 3 over radical 9. And then simplify your numerator and denominator. Our numerator does not simplify, so it stays 2 radical 3. However, the square root of 9 is 3, so our denominator does simplify. Make sure, we haven't come across any examples yet, but make sure you are checking those coefficients. 2 and 3 are completely simplified, reduced, however you want to say it. So we don't need to simplify it more. However, but on this next example, pay attention to when we do have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by radical 6. And we are going to have to simplify our coefficients here. All right, so we get 4 radical 6. And then radical 6 times radical 6 is radical 36. Go ahead and simplify. Whoops, I don't know where I got 3 from. Our numerator cannot simplify, so it stays 4 radical 6. However, our denominator does simplify down to the square root of 36. The square root is 6. So see here what I mean. 4 and 6. Those coefficients are not simplified completely. We can divide them both by 2. So we would get 2 radical 6 in our denominator over 3. Okay, so simplify those coefficients if you are able to, or reduce them, however you want to say it. All right, let's keep going. All right, next one. Go ahead and multiply your numerator and your denominator by radical 5. So then we get radical 15 in the numerator over radical 25. And then we're going to simplify. 15, there are no perfect squares that it factors down to. So it stays radical 15. And then the square root of 25 is 5. So your final answer for this one is radical 15 over 5. The reason we can't simplify that one is because radical 15 doesn't have a coefficient, okay? I know 15 and 5 you may want to simplify. However, your numerator is a radical, so therefore we cannot simplify. All right, moving on to the next one. We'll multiply numerator and denominator by radical 2. So we get 2 radical 2 in the numerator. Then we get 3 radical 4 in the denominator. Let's go ahead and simplify. The numerator cannot simplify, so we're going to keep it 2 radical 2. And then the square root of 4 is 2. But remember, I have to multiply it to the coefficient that I already have. So 3 times 2 would then be 6. However, not my final answer, because guess what? I have coefficients here. And these coefficients can be simplified. Both of them are divisible by 2, so then I get 1 radical 2 over 3 or you can write it as just radical 2 over 3. You don't have to include that coefficient of 1. All right, moving on to the next. I prefer to break this down right away. Okay, I want to work with smaller square roots. So 200 factors down to the square root of 100 and the square root of 2. So I get 10 radical 2. So I'm going to rewrite my radical, 21 over 10 radical 2. And then I have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by radical 2. So I get 21 radical 2 over 10 radical 4, which square root of 4 is 2. And then don't forget, we have to multiply it to the coefficient that we already have out front. So we get 21 radical 2 over 20. 21 and 20 do not simplify. So your final answer here is 21 radical 2 over 20. All right, at this time, I want you to go ahead and pause this video to try this one on your own, okay? All right, you should have tried it on your own, paused it, whatever. But let's double check your work. Multiply the numerator and the denominator by radical 12. So then I get 5 radical 12 over the square root of 144. So I get 5 radical 12. The square root of 144 is 12. Okay? I cannot simplify 5 and 12, so that's my final answer right there. Hopefully that's what you got. Again, if you want to pause your video and try this next one on your own as well, please feel free to do so. Okay, I want to make sure that you are also getting the practice on your own and not just copying down what I'm writing. Okay, make sure that you are being able to do it on your own. All right, so we are going to multiply numerator and denominator by radical 7. So then we get 8 radical 7 over 2 radical 49. So when we simplify, 8 and 7 cannot simplify. 8 radical 7 cannot simplify. In the denominator, the square root of 49 is 7, but then we have to multiply it to our coefficient again. 7 times 2 is 14, so we get 14 in the denominator. As always, we got to simplify here. 8 and 14 are both divisible by 2, so I get 4 radical 7 over 7, and that's going to be my final answer here. All right, radical 18. If you would like, you can multiply the numerator and the denominator by radical 18. However, like I always say, or like I prefer, break down the radical first, okay? So I'm going to get the square root of 9 over the square root of 2. Square root of 9 is 3, so I get 3 radical 2. So rewriting my original problem, but with the square root of 18 broken down, it'd be 9 over 3 radical 2. And then I'd have to multiply my numerator and my denominator by radical 2. So I'd get 9 radical 2 over 3 radical 4. Square root of 4 is 2. But then we can't forget to multiply it again. So I get 9 radical 2 over 6. But once again, you got to make sure those coefficients are simplified. Okay, both of these are divisible by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then we get our radical 2. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my final answer here is 3 radical 2 over 2. Again, if that was too fast for you, play it at a slower speed. Go back and watch some of the examples again. Homework today is worksheet number 9, so make sure that you are working on that and completing that. And then I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good day.